Hello, beautiful people. I am so excited to be back on this beautiful Saturday evening, the 16th of August, 2025. It's been a long, long time, and I'm so excited to be here. How are you all doing? Oye is here. Oye is here. It's been a while. We've been busy with the work. We've been busy with the work, and I'm glad to be back here today. So let me know where you're joining me from. Let me know where you're joining me from. Parenting Essential is here. Oye is here. And today I'll be talking about how we're going to inspire our children who are less motivated. And I know that the summer break is going to be rounding up in some part of the world. School are resuming already. And some part of the world is going to be end of this month. Some part of the world is going to be first week in September. And I think there is a need for us to equip ourselves and remind ourselves on the key things that we need to do with our children, even as they get ready for the next academic year. All right. I want you to tell me if you audible, if you are hearing me, and if I'm good to go, so that we know that we are together. Can you hear me? Am I audible? I'm very excited to be here. I've been away, and if that time permit, I'm just going to share a few things of what I've been busy doing. But trust me, it's been worth every time and every minute that I've not been here. So the work is going. Harvest is plenty. All right, let's dive into today. I'm talking about inspiring a love for learning. I want to talk about the inspiring our children, maybe who are not motivated to learn. Inspiring a love for learning. Let's talk about inspiring a love for learning. So how do we encourage our children? Maybe that was what you got in your child's report from the last academic year. Maybe the teacher is saying the child is not motivated, or you are noticing some things that maybe can be worrisome, maybe kind of delay. And next week I'll be talking about majorly on children maybe who are already diagnosed, what we can do with them and how we can help them. But in general, I'm talking about children who are not motivated to learn today. What can we do to get them on track? How can you inspire the love for learning? How can we help them instead of just judging them, instead of just shouting at them? You have done this over the time. Maybe you are a first-time mom. Maybe you have shouted on that child. You've done when we do things over and over again and there is no result. I think it's high time we stop to check. This is not working. What is going to work? Can we just look into what is not working and let's embrace what is going to work? And I always say, and I'm going to say it again, that we cannot gamble on this growing glory. It's okay if you have decided that this is a particular way you want to live your life as an adult. Sincerely, I'm less concerned. But when it comes to this gift, this treasure that the Lord has given to us, we cannot but give our best. And we can't give up on them. All right, I know you are there. You can just say hello so that I can know that you are there. And I just want to say big hello to you. And thank you for joining me after a long time today. I'm glad that you are here. So how do we encourage our children who are not motivated? Maybe they are less motivated or they're not motivated at all. What should we do? But to start with, I want you to know that every child is born curious. Just like every child is unique in their own way, every child is born curious. They want to ask, they want to know. So when you are complaining, maybe the child is not motivated, or they are not asking, or the child is not as curious as the child used to be, note that something happened or something that you need to pay attention to. So sometimes we just need to put down our busy schedules and just pay more attention so that we can actually help our children. So they are born curious, in case you're not aware, and they are all gifted. And I'm addressing be it neurotypical or neurodivergent children this moment. I always say, and I'm going to say it loud and clear this moment, that every child is teachable. So we're talking about motivation today. They are born curious, but sometimes, the spark for curiosity is just going to feel dim. The spark, maybe they lost the spark at a time, or it's just dimming down, or something is just, I don't just want to do it, or I don't just like it. What happened? How can we help? A lack of motivation does not necessarily mean the child cannot learn. it does not necessarily mean there might be an underlying issue. At the same time, there might be, but I'm just telling you that does not necessarily, because I've seen people who are just going to label children or just tag children rather, because of what they have seen without diagnosis. So, but that does not mean that a child cannot learn, even when they are not maybe self-motivated or motivated by whatever you're doing to help them. All you need to do is to know what to do. And I'll just quickly dive into it so that we can hit the point straight away today. But there are quite a lot of things that can affect our children's motivation. It might be about the environment. It might be about the learning style. It might be quite a lot of things. And that is why we say parenting is a learned skills. And as our children are growing through stages, phases, and ages, we need to up our game by getting the required skill per time, even if you're not a first-time mom. And if you're a first-time mom, you know you have not done this before. And even if you have done this before, because of the uniqueness of each child, that does not mean what you work for A is going to work for baby B. You still need to observe and pay attention to detail on baby B so that you can address baby B as an entity, not a tailored approach. And that is very important. So I'm going to quickly share what are the reasons. I'm just going to share a few, because there are quite a lot, multiple reasons why children can lose track in learning, or they can just dim their motivation to learning. But I'm just going to share a few quickly. This might be, when they see that a particular subject is easier and another one is difficult. For example, a child might be so interested in calculation and yet they are struggling in reading. Such a child, we just feel like, let me just face what I know. And when it comes to reading, instead of them feeling embarrassed, they just say, okay, I don't want to do that. I think I'm not good in that. So a way of running away from failure, a way of running away from kind of responsibility or holding up, they tend to run away. They tend to excuse themselves. And that we show to the other person like they are not motivated. Most of the time, it's not that they are not necessarily dimming their motivation, but they are running away from failure. So if you are not aware that a child can actually do this, you might be thinking, so why are you not ready to learn? Why are you not doing this? I don't just want to do it. Sometimes we need to dig deep and pay attention to know why exactly is a child is feeling like this. You have to know that, because when you know the root cause, when you know the reason why a child is not motivated, that is when you can address the situation. That is when you can know exactly what is going on with the child. That is when you can help. That is when you'll be able to address it. So it is very important for you to know what exactly is going on. What is the root cause? How can you stop this? Is this something that you need to get a professional on? Is this something that you can actually address by yourself? You'll be able to know. So, and some children may also lose motivation because, some things are just, they just do it without thinking. Or because they've done it first time and it was easy. Another time they want to try it, they find it so difficult and they don't know why I did it the first time, and this time around it seems to be difficult. And because they didn't get it the last time they did it, and the comment they got from you, maybe from the teacher, the adult on the environment, their peers, was not encouraging, so they just go back to their shell because they didn't like what they heard. They're like, okay, let me just not try it again. So there are quite a lot of distractions that can also make your child not to be motivated. It can be maybe devices. Distraction can be your TV in the house, can be your gadget, can be your tablet. You want your child to do home assignment, for example, they have an homework, but some people are watching the TV. And you don't know why the one that's supposed to sit down and be reading is not concentrating. You don't know why the one that's supposed to be seated and be calculating the mathematics, doing some science. You don't know why all you just say is, why are you so distracted? Mind your business. It doesn't always work like that. A child might not be able to mind their business when there's quite a lot of distraction around the house. Some people cannot be watching movies in the same space, and you are expecting another to sit down and do homework. So when you know the kind of child you are raising, when you understand the uniqueness of each child, you'll be able to address every child. If you have such a child, you know already what to do. So study time is going to be study time for all. At the end of the day, we are growing together as a family. When we talk about family values, vision and mission, it's not about the child or just the parent. It's everybody. So all you need to do is to do your work by understanding this particular child. What am I trying to say? Distraction can make a child to be less motivated. And you are not aware. You don't know why. Why? You should mind your business. For another child, it's okay. If you like make noise, if you like watch movies, if you like play music, I still want to study and that's my focus. And your job is not to say, but the other child is going to sit and study. Why is it difficult for you? That is already judging the child. That is already you labeling or comparing them. And that is not what we want to do when we want to help our children to get motivated. We treat them as an individual. We don't compare. You don't compare our children. So there are quite a lot of things. And I just want to quickly talk about what we can do to help our children get motivated. Another thing, which is not a common thing that we pay attention to when it comes to our children not being motivated, is when they are super intelligent. I want you to listen to this very well. A child can be so intelligent, and when they are asked to do a certain work, maybe in their mathematics, science, or any subject, they feel lazy or they feel like they're not interested because they see it as the waste of their time. But because maybe a child doesn't know how to articulate how they feel or how to explain themselves, the teacher is going to say you don't like to work. Or the parent, the caregiver is going to say you are just not. And you don't just know why your child doesn't want to do the assignment. Even sometimes we know that, I know you can do this. Why is it difficult for you to sit down and do it? It's because they see it as waste of time. Why do I need to do this? And I can actually relate being a parent myself. I remember when my children were in kindergarten 1, I remember we had a lot of discussion. I had to put them through a lot of this because I noticed that at the point they were not quite motivated to even maybe get excited to go to class or anything. They just tell me we are going to be doing sound. We are going to be doing, the A to Z sound again and the phonics and things like that. And they were like, okay, at home already we are reading. Why should we get to class and read that? I had to put them through, guide them, prepare their mind to let them know that they are also going to relearn and help others in the class. If not, a child can see it as a waste of time. Why do I need to go to school anyways? Because what they are going to teach me in school, I know already. I know much more than that. So these are things that we might not even pay attention to, why our child or our children became so, so dim in being excited to learn. Because you don't know. It doesn't make sense to most of us. It doesn't just make sense. Just do it. Just do it. No, but as a child, just imagine you being asked to do something that doesn't make sense to you as an adult. How will you feel? You might even get irritated. The same way they're humans. They also feel the same too. It's just that we do not see things in the view of a child. We don't just want them to just do it. Just the way we are entitled to how we feel irritated about some things, so also these things are happening to them. So your job, your duty is to pay attention and track why behind this behavior. Why behind my child doesn't just want to study, my child doesn't want to read. Your job. And before you can get these answers, you have to pay a close attention to this so that you can get why. After you know the why, what are the ways that you can go about helping your child to be motivated again or to get motivated in studying? Because, something that we do oftentimes is when we see a child that, physically okay, control and coordination is okay, we do not know why that child is struggling in reading. You don't have any eye defect. You don't have any ear defect. You have not, maybe there's no diagnosis. And you don't just understand. So what I'm saying is the fact that a child is having good control and coordination does not mean a child cannot struggle with dyslexia. And these are not physical things that you can actually see and note. But if you don't pay attention and stay calm to know what is going on so that you can help your child, you are going to be frustrated and frustrate the child, and that situation might get worsened. And the fact that a child is good in mathematics and English does not mean the child automatically needs to be having good control and coordination. The child might be good in other subjects but yet struggling with space awareness. And that is totally okay. Our job is to give them their self pace and to help them. They are not good in it yet. That does not mean they are not going to catch up. The fact that a child is getting it at 3 does not mean your 5 years old is having issues. So we need to understand this vice versa. So they are going to resume new academic year. It doesn't matter. And we have so many unprofessional teachers in classroom today. In the name of that's the job available, especially in some part of the world. And that is why I'm saying this, so that when you get some reports, instead of you just shouting on your child, you might need to push it away and do your job, because you are your child's first teacher. Do your job and pay attention to know how you want to help your child, rather than just embracing and raising your voice on the negative report. Yes, they are negative, because a teacher is not ready to do their job. And again, we can't blame these teachers. You know how many children they have in the class. They can also sit on every child to pay attention. And that is why you cannot say, I'm paying school. Yes, you're paying school, but you're the parent. You need to do your job. The teacher that has 25, maybe have 25 children in the class, and one is having another way of maybe one is a very different way of learning style. How do you want the teacher to help this one with a learning style, another learning style? It's going to be very challenging. I'm not saying it's not possible. So that is where you need to step in. First thing you have to do is to connect their learning into their interest. If you already know that my child is not motivated, and why you find out the underlying issue, first connect that learning, what you want them to learn, into their interest. You push the interest to them. You sell it to them. For example, maybe you even want your child to learn how to sing, and your child is not even interested. I would not even encourage you to force a child into a particular skill when you can actually get the one that the child is interested and embrace it. But let's focus on academics. The child cannot choose to say, I don't want to do math in class, or I don't want to do English in class, because it's a compulsory subject. So let's focus on things that they don't have choice on, because it's required as part of their developmental growth and academic growth. So you are going to put interest. You're going to connect their interest into their learning. Whatever they want to learn, you incorporate it into their interest. For example, a child who doesn't have any interest in mathematics, they're struggling, but they love so much. They love football so much. They love to spend time in watching football. So you're going to incorporate the scores, the matches, and incorporate it into other math. So you don't always remind them of how much they don't know in mathematics. When it's time to learn, when it's time to give them book, you push away the book a little bit and use their interest. When the goal is scoring, when you see a particular number of people, footballs, maybe they are doing something, you incorporate it. 4 players are going. When you just incorporate it. It's your job to know if it is a division. You incorporate it through the child interest. I've heard parents say, but I'm not a teacher. I don't have that time. I don't have that time. You have to have that time. That is why you became a parent in the first place. That is why you chose to become a caregiver in the first place. So stop saying you don't have time, because that is an higher calling, and that's your first assignment. That is why we need to get the skill that we don't have. Get it. Their interest is their interest. What you want them to learn can be incorporated into their interest. A child that loves drawing so much, when they are reading and they are struggling, read with them and incorporate this reading in using an illustration. Whatever they are reading, make sure that you still push it back to their interest. When they are doing their interest, they're drawing, push it back to they want to write, they want to draw. They can always illustrate the story they are reading, and they'll be interested. There's a way to do it. But many times when we talk about these things today, a lot of people feel, you just want me to raise a lazy child. No, not so. This is not just because for you to raise a lazy child, but to be an amazing parent who understand the kind of child you are raising, who understand the uniqueness of that particular child you are raising. And that is your job to do. Another thing you have to always do is to break tasks into small achievable goal. I understand in school they are expected to do a certain thing. It's a new academic year. Maybe they're going to grade 2, grade 1, grade 5, grade 6. And you know that the last previous grade, they actually struggled in the math of grade 3 or grade 4, grade 5. And they're going to higher grade this time. So, but because you know that you don't want your child, out of love, whatever we do is out of love. You don't want your child to struggle, then you just give them a lot of work to do. You're just bombarding them. You are not helping, you're frustrating them. So all you need to do is to break it down. It doesn't have to be at the same pace as the classroom. Your child doesn't get it yet, but that child will get it. It's better to break it down and give the child the pace than to frustrate the child forever. So you give it a breakdown. If you do this, maybe 2 pages, we're going to work on this today. And this is how we are going to do it. And you to sit with the child, make it all about you, not just about the problem of the child. If you're able to calculate this and you get this, okay, you can have a board in the house. You are just going to go give yourself a star. At the end of the week, by Friday, if you're able to do all this each day, all the tasks you have, and you have the certain number of stars on your board, this is your reward. But quite a lot of people don't want to hear this today. This is nonsense. I should be begging my child to learn. I'm not here for you if you are the type, because it's deeper than what we can explain here. Bear in mind, I mentioned at the beginning about, the things that might be an underlying issue that we might not see because they're not physical. As much as you think that you know your child, I know you, my child. I've heard parents saying to me that I know my child. My child is just lazy. My child is just lazy. As much as you think you know your child, have you ever, for once, opened the brain of your child to see what is inside before? As a parent, as a father, you know your child so well. Well done. Kudos. Have you ever done a brain evaluation for that child? Or you physically open that brain to see the state? Are you getting my point? You might think you know, but until you actually relax and take a deep breath for you to know, you might not know how to help your child. Another thing is to celebrate every effort, not just the result. Celebrate every effort. One of it is the one I said about giving smiley faces or a star and having a certain reward at the end of the week. So you celebrate every effort. But for example, a child has tried so much and at the end of the day came up with 6/10. Instead of you saying you just got 6/10, keep trying. You can talk about something else. You can talk about how their effort is showing up. I can see that you are improving. Don't just stop, you're going to get there. Instead of just talking that down. A child that you cannot stand, started standing and making tiptoes. Please celebrate it. A child who was struggling, who will usually get 2/10 and is now getting 4/10. Mom and dad, caregiver, please celebrate it. It's a win. I am not saying make them feel they've done well and they don't have to give effort. I've talked about overpraising children before, and I'm not talking about overpraises today. I'm not talking about you overpraising them, but recognizing the effort they are putting in for their growth. And that is very important. That is what I'm talking about today. So don't just say, what is this and that? So another thing you have to do is to create a supportive learning environment. A child who is struggling to read, and all you say every time is, I have never seen you take a book to read. Even though maybe by chance you have maybe got 2 books or 3 books in the house for the child to read, but the child has never seen you sit to read before. It doesn't work like that. It is not by mouth. You have to make an enabling environment for your child. And don't make it about the child. Talk less about saying, go and pick a book and read. Leave the child alone. Check yourself. How many times has this child seen me sit to read? You realize that the child is just reflecting you. Sometimes we judge them wrongly. We play the victim while the child is a victim. So you create an environment that is enabling. You sit down and start reading. You will see naturally reading becomes an habit in the home. And if the child is still struggling, incorporate the reading group. You pick a line, maybe it's a kind of play, a book that is play, you do a character, the child is going to do another character. Make it fun. Maybe the child has been, maybe the child was reading you don't know what has happened to the child in the group outside the house, maybe in school, in tuitions and everything. Maybe a teacher or friend has maybe laughed at the child before, though the child doesn't want to make effort. I don't want to read and I cause something wrongly and everybody's going to laugh at me. So make it about everyone, not just about the child. That is when you're creating a very supportive learning environment for your child. It is very important. You can design a very beautiful learning corner. I don't have money I'm not talking about money. Everything is just not about money. Create something. Do a DIY project with your child. Create that. What do you want to see here? It can be a blanket from your home. Put it down. Just put a stool, put some books on put some flowers next to it. Say, we are going to come here every day for 5 minutes. We are going to sit down. We are going to read and we are going to talk about what we read without putting burden on the child. Quite a lot of people are dealing with dyslexia and you cannot know until you are patient to find out. I narrowly missed dyslexia myself. And this I got to know when I started studying. When I started evaluating myself, I realized that nobody could have known, or I can't even, nobody will even think like that. I wasn't a bad student. And if I have to trace me going for engineering, I would have said, because I always struggle with reading, I thought, okay, I don't want to go to Atlas. I'd rather go to science class. There are quite a lot of things that is going on that we will not know until we pay attention. We're just going to say the child is stubborn. The child is not stubborn. Pay attention. There might be something that the child just needs your attention, help to. They are amazing. I love children. They are amazing. And I wish we can all be on the page of being patient to understand the uniqueness of these children. All right, make sure you work on that. Enabling environment, create a supporting, you can make a corner, study corner, reading corner for them. Somewhere where very cozy, cozy, nice. You can even put some positive affirmation. Put the child's name. Tolulokpe is great. Today I stand up and I rise up. I'm going to do what I need to do today. These things matter, but you don't know, you don't have time. That's all you say. Try it and you see how great the next academic year is going to be for your child. All right, I need to run so that we can go ahead. I talked about being a role model already. I use example of you reading. That is the best way you can teach a child. You can motivate a child, whatever it is, through doing what you expect them to do. Because children are always mirroring. Anytime, any day, I have anything to complain about my children, I know that it's coming from me. It's coming from me. If I notice my children are spending too much time on computer, and I was sharing this with my husband 2 days ago, like, okay, what is going on? I know that I am the one who lost connection somehow. Let's just call them together and let's play. You will remember that they will not even remember that there's a computer somewhere. If you are doing your job as parent, they will not even remember they want to go and do. Most of the time, of course, maybe they are doing scratch on the computer or they are designing. But that should not be the end of the time. That should not be the only thing they're going to sit and do all day. But because sometimes issues of life weigh others as parents, we are not tracking their routine anymore. We feel they should know. And we are also battling some things in our head, then we just lose connection with our children. We need to be very careful with this. And because I always talk about self-check, and there's something I always tell myself the truth, I know when I get to that stage, I know I need self-evaluation. I'm not doing what I should do. So anytime before you get upset, anytime you just see that your children are going out of line, check yourself. It's not just coming from anywhere, it's coming from you, but we oftentimes find it difficult to face the reality. And that is what it's all about. So children, they are mirroring us. They are always curious. Something happened or something they are not even finding out. Our job is to find out the root cause. What can be the reason Why is my child or my children less motivated to learn? And we're going to see, when we know the root cause and we learn what we're supposed to learn, and we create an enabling environment, and we are mirroring the nice things for them, the right things for them, we are going to get the best result. So what are you going to do differently in this next academic year? Are you just going to say, you know what, I'm going to show you Pepe? What Pepe are you showing, by the way? What Pepe? Instead of just showing them Pepe, can you be a better parent this academic year? Can you be more calm to listen this time? Can you pay attention? Can you just evaluate yourself so that your child can be better? Don't forget, you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for the future of this growing glory. All right, I want to say thank you so much for joining me today. It's really been a long time, and I'm glad to be here. I think it's been 4 to 5 weeks not coming live, but it's been awesome, I must tell you. Preparation for the mission field. I've been away on mission field. So I think in the first 2 weeks before I traveled, I was preparing, and I was away for 2 weeks. I came back still doing other things and putting myself together again, and I'm here now, and I'm glad that I'm here. And if you are a parent or a caregiver and you are not paying attention to your own children, when we have a lot of children out there is no one to pay attention to them. So what are you doing with yours? What are you doing with your own growing glory? These ones are not even privileged to have what they can call mom or dad. We have teenagers, we have children who have been abused, and yet you have yours and you're saying you don't have time. Can we just get up and do better? And if you are blessed, please be a blessing to somebody. If you cannot go on the field and you know you are blessed, please, we are just a DM away. Help a child today. Help a child today. And if you don't know ways that you can help a child, please, you can ask questions and we'll let you know how and which areas you can help a child. There are quite a lot of children out there that they need your help. They need our help. Don't forget, parenting is an higher calling and you have yours. Be grateful. Be grateful by doing what you are supposed to do. All right, I want to say thank you, everyone, for joining me today. Wow, I can see Madam Ife there. Fire on, Coach. Thank you so much, Madam Ife. Good to see you. Dr. Mrs., I see you there. My learning family are here today. Thank you for the amazing work. Thank you for putting all your effort all through the mission field, and your effort, your time, your everything made it a huge success. I want to say thank you to every member of the team from Ilorin. God bless you. And every other person that I can see on my screen. My husband is right there, always behind the scene to make sure that everything is going on well. I can't but say thank you. Thank you, Oba, that I like the way I love to call you, Oba Kabiesi. Thank you so much for everything. I know it's quite a lot of things that we are doing, when you don't have that man, it's difficult to do. But that man is that man. You understand? My Oba is that man. I can carry my bag anytime and say, you know what? The Lord is calling. And he will just say, go. Even when I'm tired, even when I'm weak, you just say, no, you cannot stop. You have to keep going. Thank you for everything. Thank you for being an amazing husband. And you know that this is not about the social media. This is not about talking just about you. It's just because you are such an amazing man that the Lord has blessed me with. So I want to use this time to just celebrate you. I want to say thank you, my darling husband, Olayinka Alamumi. God bless you. Thank you for all you do. I want to say thank you to everyone. Don't forget, as we go this evening, that parenting must be intentional. Parenting must be purposeful. Parenting must be full of vision. And this vision is what is going to guide you jealously. And that is why we say only the vision guides. God bless you. Stay blessed. See you again next week by the grace of God. God bless you.